John Deere, the iconic green and yellow giant that built its name in the heart of America's farms, is now facing a growing storm. A secret they've tried to keep buried for years has just exploded into the spotlight, and farmers across the country are furious. For generations, John Deere was seen as the gold standard of American farm machinery, durable, powerful, and essential to modern agriculture. But in recent years, a disturbing pattern has emerged. With the introduction of increasingly high-tech tractors and harvesters, John Deere embedded sophisticated onboard software and diagnostic systems in its equipment. At first glance, this seemed like innovation. But what farmers soon discovered was that they were no longer in full control of the machines they owned. The software was locked behind encrypted firewalls, meaning that even if a farmer could identify a problem, they couldn't fix it themselves without going through Deere's authorized service network. This wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a complete reversal of ownership. Imagine buying a truck, but needing the manufacturer's permission to change the oil. That's the reality many farmers now face. Even basic repairs like sensor resets or firmware updates require costly service calls to Deere technicians. In remote rural areas, this can mean days of downtime during crucial harvest windows, a delay that can wipe out an entire season's profits. Worse still, many of these software locks have no workaround. Independent mechanics, and even the farmers themselves, are legally barred from accessing or modifying Deere software, thanks to digital rights management, DRM, protections, and end-user license agreements buried in the fine print. The reaction from the farming community has been nothing short of explosive. Across the Midwest, at co-ops and trade shows, in online forums and rural town halls, farmers have raised their voices in protest. The frustration runs deep. These are people who've maintained and repaired their own equipment for generations, suddenly told they're not qualified to service what they've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for. It's a slap in the face, a corporate overreach that treats lifelong professionals like renters of their own machinery. Some farmers have taken drastic steps. A growing number have turned to underground right-to-repair groups that specialize in hacking Deere software locks. Others have started importing older, less digitally restricted equipment from Eastern Europe. The sentiment is clear. If John Deere won't let them fix their tractors, they'll find ways around the system, even if it means breaking the law or ditching the brand entirely. What's even more shocking is that many younger farmers, digital natives themselves, are actively learning how to jailbreak these machines, seeing it as a modern form of rebellion. But the risk is high, both legally and financially. Deere has threatened lawsuits against anyone caught tampering with their software. The question becomes, when did a farming tool become a weapon of corporate control? The issue has now moved beyond farmland and into courtrooms, state legislatures, and even Congress. The right-to-repair movement, once a niche concern for electronics and smartphones, has become a full-blown national debate. In 2021, President Biden issued an executive order calling on the Federal Trade Commission to investigate unfair repair restrictions, explicitly naming agriculture equipment as a target. That same year, lawsuits and class actions began piling up against John Deere, accusing them of monopolistic practices and antitrust violations. Several states have now introduced right-to-repair bills aimed at forcing companies like Deere to provide diagnostic tools and parts to owners and independent repair shops. But Deere isn't going quietly. The company has spent millions lobbying against these bills, arguing that unauthorized repairs could lead to safety risks, emissions violations, or IP theft. Critics argue this is just a smokescreen for protecting a lucrative monopoly. After all, repair services represent a massive profit stream, and maintaining exclusive control means Deere can charge whatever they want. What's more troubling is that many of these machines are financed with loans, and when they break down with no quick fix, farmers still owe them monthly payments, even if the tractor is sitting useless in the shed. One of the hidden casualties of this digital clampdown is the death of the independent farm mechanic. Across rural America, countless small repair shops that once thrived on servicing tractors and combines are now being forced out of business. Without access to proprietary diagnostic codes or repair manuals, these mechanics are rendered powerless. Their decades of mechanical expertise are suddenly irrelevant in a world where fixing a machine now requires a software license and encrypted passwords. This has created a dangerous bottleneck in the rural service ecosystem. Farmers have fewer options. Wait times for certified Deere technicians are growing longer, and costs have skyrocketed. It's also killing a culture of self-reliance that's been central to rural life. Fixing your own equipment used to be a source of pride, a a skill passed down from father to son. Now, that tradition is being erased by corporations whose only priority is profit and control. And it's not just a technical issue, it's a cultural crisis. While this may seem like a rural issue, the consequences ripple far beyond the farms. The more power companies like John Deere gain over their customers, the more fragile our food system becomes. When a farmer can't fix their equipment, it means delays in planting, harvesting, or transporting crops. That disruption doesn't just hit their wallet, it hits the entire supply chain, driving up food prices for everyone. It also increases the likelihood of food shortages in times of crisis, whether due to weather, economic downturns, or global instability. Furthermore, as more farmers take on debt to buy equipment they can't even fully control, rural economic health deteriorates. Farm bankruptcies rise. Rural towns hollow out. Young people leave. And corporate consolidation tightens its grip on everything from seed to soil to software. If we continue down this path, the very foundation of independent American farming may be at risk. This isn't just about one company's practices. It's about a system that rewards monopolies and punishes the people who feed us. But not all hope is lost. As the backlash against Deere grows, new players are entering the scene, and they're listening. Smaller manufacturers and even some foreign companies are beginning to market open-source agricultural equipment or build machines that prioritize user access and self-service. Companies like Keystrack, Kubota, and Mahindra are slowly gaining ground, offering lower cost, more reparable alternatives. Startups in the agri-tech space are designing modular tractors with upgradable components and downloadable manuals. More farmers are also looking to older models from the pre-digital era, machines that still work reliably without needing a software update. There's a new trend of retro farming, where 1980s and 90s equipment is rebuilt and repurposed with modern attachments, all because they could be fixed with a wrench instead of computer. The lesson is clear. When big corporations go too far, the people will find another way. The question now is whether John Deere will adapt or get left behind. One of the most unsettling realities behind John Deere's practices is that when farmers buy a tractor today, they're not really buying the whole machine, at least not in the traditional sense. While the hardware might belong to them, the software, which controls everything from engine performance to error codes, remains the intellectual property of John Deere. This means the farmers are essentially licensing a key part of their equipment. Want to tweak how your tractor runs? You legally can't. Want to bypass a software error in the middle of harvest season? You could void your warranty or even face legal action. It's ownership in name only, a digital leash that tightens as more equipment becomes software dependent. This corporate playbook isn't unique to farming. We've seen it with smartphones, game consoles, and even coffee machines. But when applied to food production, it becomes a much more dangerous precedent. It raises a critical question. If you pay for a $500,000 machine, shouldn't you have the right to repair, modify, or upgrade it? The answer should be obvious, yet the system is rigged otherwise. John Deere controls more than 50% of the large tractor market in North America, and in some regions, the share is even higher. That dominance isn't just about brand loyalty or superior engineering. It's also about lack of choice. Many farmers simply don't have viable alternatives when it comes to integrated, high-tech machinery that can handle the massive scale of modern agriculture. Deere's dealer network is vast, their product lines are diversified, and their legacy footprint gives them a huge advantage. But that level of control has created a monopolistic environment, where farmers are often locked into multi-year leases, subscription software updates, and expensive servicing plans. Worse yet, many local Deere dealers have merged or been acquired by regional conglomerates, creating service monopolies in certain areas. Farmers can't shop around for better prices or faster support. They're at the mercy of the one certified technician in a 200-mile radius. It's no wonder that antitrust investigations are now circling Deere like vultures, with many regulators asking, is this a farm equipment company or a digital empire in green paint? There's another layer to Deere's control that's even more dystopian: data ownership. Today's tractors are data-gathering machines. They collect vast amounts of information on soil conditions, crop yields, machine performance, fuel efficiency, and more. All of this is beamed to the cloud, not the farmer's server, but Deere's proprietary data systems. This has sparked outrage in the farming community. The people working the land every day aren't just locked out of their own repairs, they're locked out of their own data. Farmers are demanding answers. Where's that data going? Who's analyzing it? Is it being sold? Can it be used to influence commodity markets or undercut farmers on seed pricing? Deere claims the data is secure and only used to optimize performance, but the lack of transparency has sown deep distrust. In an age where data is power, many farmers feel they've unknowingly given Deere a golden key to their entire operation, and now they want it back. This isn't just a U.S. problem. Deere's restrictive repair and software control model is being exported globally. From Canada to Australia, farmers in other countries are facing the same digital walls, the same repair bottlenecks, and the same rising costs. In some developing nations, this is even more problematic, where rural infrastructure is limited and third-party repair shops are vital to local economies. If Deere's model becomes the global norm, it could cripple agricultural independence in regions that can least afford it. Some countries are already pushing back. In the European Union, right-to-repair laws are expanding, and there's growing political pressure to mandate open-source diagnostics in agricultural equipment. In Africa and parts of Asia, local innovators are beginning to build homegrown alternatives that prioritize mechanical simplicity and repairability. The fight for repair freedom is going global, and Deere may soon find itself on the wrong side of history. Recently, internal documents and whistleblower accounts have begun to surface, and they're painting an even darker picture of how deep this problem runs. Reports claim Deere has been actively training dealer technicians to flag hacked or modified equipment, with some farmers even being blacklisted for attempting their own repairs. Some insiders have alleged that Deere has conducted internal audits to identify unauthorized repairs and quietly disabled equipment software until the farmer paid for an official reset. These leaks have reignited the debate over whether John Deere is intentionally using software as a weapon against its own customer base. If proven true, this could open the door to class action lawsuits and federal investigations. The question now isn't just whether Deere has overreached, it's whether they've crossed a legal line. And farmers aren't backing down. This isn't just about tractors. This is about every consumer's right to fix what they own, whether it's a car, a laptop, or a combine harvester. The right to repair movement is gaining momentum across the world, and you can be part of it. By supporting organizations like the U.S. Public Interest Research Group, USPIRG, and iFixit, or simply contacting your local lawmakers, you can help push for legislation that protects farmers and all consumers from abusive corporate practices. Even more importantly, spread awareness. Share this video. Talk about it. Challenge the narrative. Because the more people know what's really happening behind the barn doors, the harder it becomes for companies like John Deere to keep control. The era of silent compliance is over. The age of farmer rebellion has begun. What used to be a one-time purchase is now becoming a recurring cost. In the past, a farmer would buy a tractor and use it until it wore out. Simple. But today, John Deere is pushing a new model, software as a service, SaaS. That means certain features of your tractor, GPS precision guidance, yield tracking, or diagnostic tools, are now locked behind monthly or annual subscriptions. Miss a payment? You might lose access to essential features mid-season. This model doesn't just increase Deere's profits. It turns every farmer into a permanent customer, even after they've bought the equipment outright. Farmers are calling this a trap. It's not innovation. They say it's extortion. Deere defends it as the future of precision agriculture, but many see it as a slippery slope toward full corporate dependency. The idea that your $500,000 combine won't run at full capacity unless you keep swiping your card each month is shocking and, to many, unacceptable. It transforms machinery from an investment into a bill, and that shift is fueling the fire. John Deere's current business model is incredibly profitable, but is it sustainable? Some analysts now believe Deere may be inflating a green tech bubble. By doubling down on high-margin software, subscriptions, and monopolistic repair practices, The company has created an artificial walled garden, and that works only until customers have alternatives. But with the rise of open-source tractor startups, used equipment markets booming, and backlash from rural America intensifying, Deere may be sowing the seeds of its own decline. Wall Street may not see it yet, but out in the fields, farmers are already voting with their wallets. If Deere doesn't pivot and offer fair repair terms, they risk losing an entire generation of customers. And with U.S. and global regulators circling, the company could soon face forced changes to its practices or stiff penalties. This isn't just about farmer anger. It's about a brand flying too close to the sun. Out of this chaos, a powerful grassroots movement is forming. Groups like Farmers for Fair Repair, Repair.org, and Right to Repair Coalition are growing fast, fueled by digital organizing and real-world frustration. These aren't just protesters. They're ranchers, soybean growers, wheat harvesters, and corn belt workers who've had enough. They're lobbying legislators, filing lawsuits, and even crowdfunding legal campaigns to take on Big AG. Farmers who once competed fiercely are now uniting around a single goal: the right to fix their tools, control their land, and keep corporate overreach off the farm. This movement is crossing political lines and generational divides. It's not left or right, it's survival. The sense of betrayal from a company they trusted for decades has only galvanized their resolve. And with every blocked repair and overcharged service call, the rebellion grows. Beyond economics, legislation, or software, there's an emotional story here that's often overlooked. Farmers aren't just mad. Many are heartbroken. John Deere isn't just another company. It's been a symbol for rural America, a brand many were proud to own, pass down, and defend. Generations grew up riding in the cab of their father's Deere, wearing the hat, flying the flag. For many, the betrayal cuts deeper than just money. The green and yellow logo once stood for independence, hard work, and pride. Now, for some, it represents corporate greed, exploitation, and loss of autonomy. That emotional rupture is powerful. It's why this story resonates far beyond agriculture. Because when trust dies in a small town, it doesn't come back easily. The fallout isn't just financial, it's cultural. And for rural America, that loss is immeasurable. John Deere may unintentionally be the catalyst for something much bigger. If courts or Congress successfully challenge Deere's right to lock down repairs, it could set a precedent that reshapes not just agriculture, but tech and auto industries too. Apple, Tesla, and others have used similar strategies, restricting parts, software, and third-party access. But if Deere loses in court or is forced by regulation to open up, it could become the landmark case that unravels corporate repair monopolies industry-wide. This is why so many tech insiders and watchdog organizations are watching this case closely. This isn't just about farming. It's about every consumer who's ever been told, you're not allowed to fix what you own. And the bigger question is, who really controls technology in our lives? If farmers win this battle, they may just inspire a repair revolution across the globe. John Deere now stands at a crossroads. They can double down on their model and continue alienating the very people who built their empire, or they can listen, adapt, and lead with integrity. Farmers aren't asking for freebies. They're asking for fairness, for dignity, for the basic right to work their land with the tools they bought. This is Deere's chance to be a hero again, to return to its roots and rebuild the trust it's broken. But if it doesn't, the message from the farms is loud and clear. If you lock us out, we'll lock you out of our fields. Modern John Deere tractors are marvels of engineering, equipped with GPS navigation, automated steering, yield mapping systems, and remote diagnostics. But behind a shiny interface is a deeper issue. You're no longer fixing a machine, you're hacking a computer. And just like your smartphone or laptop, John Deere claims that unauthorized tampering violates intellectual property law. This means that even if a tractor is sitting idle in a field because of a minor software bug, the owner can't legally touch the code. Instead of pulling out a wrench, the farmer must call a dealer, wait for an available technician, and often pay hundreds of dollars just to clear an error code. It's the death of mechanical independence. and the birth of digital dependence. The tractor is no longer just a tool, it's a tether. Where there's restriction, there's always resistance. Across the U.S. and abroad, a growing black market for unlocked or hacked John Deere tractors has emerged. In Ukraine and Eastern Europe, some mechanics have built full-time businesses hacking Deere software.